How you doing? Jason Cott from ASP.NET Tutorial Zone. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the topic, what is .NET? In part 1 we covered that .NET is a platform rather than a language. Part 2 we covered the evolution of .NET. Part 3 we covered some capabilities of .NET. But now in part 4 we're going to talk about some of the limitations of .NET. Now in part 3 we talked a little bit about how in .NET a lot of things that are usually in an external API are actually part of the platform itself. Well, there's pros and cons with that. One of the pros is that if it's built into the platform, instead of being something else that you download and add on, then you have one standard. And when you have one standard, everyone follows the same pattern, everyone follows the same rules, and people tend to be in agreement a lot more. But the con that comes along with that is that you only have one opinion. So in any one case, let's say that you wanted to create a library that does SMTP, which is email messaging, right? And you think, okay, well, I think it should be implemented this way. But another programmer feels it should be implemented another way. And in most cases, both programmers would actually be right. It's just that each tool might be better for a very specific job. Well, if you have just one standard and choices are not promoted, because in .NET, if it's built into the platform, it's usually against your best interest to actually go and download some other way of doing it and do it differently from everyone else. But when this happens, you end up with only one way of doing things, and you might not always have the right tool for the job. So again, it's good if you agree with the way that Microsoft chose to do things. For example, if you agree with the way they implemented their SMTP messaging, or you agree with the way they implemented their communication framework, or you agree with the way they did their presentation framework, that's good. But if you disagree, you wind up having a problem. But one of the biggest pieces that you'll find that you may have a disagreement on at any one point in the future is probably going to be the operating system. .NET is implemented such that it runs on Windows. It is not implemented to run on other platforms. And yes, I know they claim that it's an open standard and that open source projects can implement .NET. However, we've gotten a lot of success with the Mono project, so you can run some .NET applications on Linux or on HPUX, etc. However, the issue is that some of the major components of the .NET framework, which are considered to be built in, are actually not open, and Microsoft holds those patents separately. So whether or not Microsoft may or may not choose to sue the Mono project later, who knows? Whether or not they choose to sue some other company that comes along and implements their standards remains to be seen. However, one of the key things to realize is that Microsoft makes their money by selling Windows, and .NET, which everyone uses to develop programs which then run on Windows nowadays, is a key part of that. So if that ever were really to be threatened, I doubt Microsoft would let it go. So wrapping it up, the lesson here is that even though you may hear or you may read or you may see that Microsoft promotes .NET to be an open standard, there's a huge conflict of interest there, and it's not likely to ever really be that way. If you'd like to know more on what we just talked about, there's only so much I can say in a couple of minutes, so check out the full article in the link below the video. Also, if you'd like to see more videos like this one, please like and subscribe. Thanks for your support, and I'll talk to you soon.